This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by Joe Gallagher. We're here, Beterbiev versus Bivol press conference. Joe, this is massive for you. You've got Jack Massey taking on Jai Opetaia for the world title. Just how honoured, first of all, are you to be here today?
How what?
How honoured are you?
Yeah, no, listen, I am. I'm so chuffed walking in here today now. Jack Massey going fighting one of the best feared fighters in the world at the moment, Jai Opetaia, and then also Mohamed Ali making his professional debut. So it's and also for it to be on the Bivol Bivol card, to be involved, being in and around that all fight week when we get to Saudi. So I'm really looking forward to that.
For Jack especially, this has all come off the back of that Isaac Chamberlain win, which he took on short notice. He's took that opportunity against Isaac and he's earning, I'd say, a hell of a lot more than what most people expected. I think when we saw Jai Opetaia versus Jack Massey, we had the similar feeling that we got when Opetaia got announced versus Zorro, but instead of it being like, that's not a good fight, this is a much tougher fight than what people are going to make of it. And I'm sure you and Jack are both bang up for it.
Yeah, 100% listen, if Jack Massey wasn't bang up for a world title fight, we'd have a problem. Jai Opetaia, we've watched him, we've watched a lot of his fights, and he's very good. He is very good. Good feet, good rhythm, keeps his head off the line well, very good southpaw, good rhythm, and he's done well and impressed in all these fights. Bradis has had two good fights with. Didn't have it all his own way in both fights, but we're in boxing, and a bit like at the weekend, we're with two fighters, two people that can punch. I think Jack Massey getting 12 rounds under the belt against Isaac Chamberlain has worked wonders for him. He started the year off with a blowout, 1 or 2 round blowout, beating Chamberlain, and now here he is fighting for the world title against Opetaia. Not an easy task, not a lot of people, there wasn't a big queue lining up to fight him, but when it was put to Jack Massey, it was an opportunity to roll the dice, and when you're in a good roll of form and when you're hot, you're hot. You've got to go and take that opportunity, and let's go and wait and see on October the 12th where we can pull it off.
You mentioned, obviously, back at the weekend, we saw Riyadh season in London, Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, a fight that has left the British public in shock, disbelief, because of how dominant Daniel Dubois was. What did you make of it? As that fight was going on, what was going through your mind?
I wouldn't say people were shocked. I think everyone knew Daniel Dubois had the capability of winning and knocking someone out, but I don't think they really realised he would be able to do it right from round one. Like Simon Jordan, they said it was right from round 1 to round 5 when he ended up stopping him, so it wasn't a real shock, but I just knew Daniel Dubois, the way that he walked to the ring, he entered the ring. It was like the Mike Tyson of years ago, the black robe, the coat, looking around, enjoying it, soaking it all up, and he went about a man on a mission, and he pulled the win off.
For Anthony Joshua, what do you see left for him? He says he wants to fight on. What fights do you see out there for him?
I think that it's a fighter's pride, everyone's fighting. I think Anthony Joshua needs to have a little break, go away, think about things. Like you say, it wasn't just a loss, it was a sustained beating. I mean, it's not nice to see, no one wants to see that type of thing, and who would we put him back in? Well, obviously they won't put him in with a puncher, they might do a rematch with Joseph Parker, they're not going to put him in with Martin BAKOLE. If they were going to put him in with someone, the most would be Deontay Wilder, because the most would think he's shot, so it was a battle of who lands first. Tyson Fury, they might hang on for the Tyson, because it's still a big fight. But it isn't the two of them in the prime as it was Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. So it's very much, it's still a big name, but it's not the biggest fight. Commercially wise, I mean, it is still a stadium fight, because everyone still wants to know who would win. But you've got to start looking now at the next crop of heavyweights coming through. Cabiel, Martin BAKOLE, Lawrence Okole, all them type of fighters now. I mean, Daniel Dubois, the kids move the division forward for the next few years.
A lot of questions have been raised about Joshua's punch resistance. Seeing him getting hit by as many shots as what he did, there's a lot of questions. What do you think of his punch resistance?
I don't think it's nothing to do with Joshua's punch resistance. I just think it's how hard Daniel Dubois hits, and I think if Daniel Dubois hits anyone flush on the chin like he did, they'd go down. You're seeing Anthony Joshua's punch resistance people talk about. If it was that hard, it would have been clean out. It wasn't clean out until the final shot, and he still got up in the end. He struggled to get up at the end, but he'd been down and got up. So in the case of his punch resistance, because his punch resistance was shot, he would never have got up from the first or the second or the third. So I think that's a bit unfair on Anthony Joshua. Like Eddie said, he showed great courage, great balls, set of balls, and he wanted to get up and carry on like the brave fighter he is.
One thing I do want to get your thoughts on as a trainer, we've seen a clip on social media. Anthony Joshua sits down after one of the rounds, I think it was the third after he got dropped again, and he goes to Ben Davison, he's shit. As a trainer, if you've got a fighter who's been dropped for the second time, What are you saying to that fighter in that minute instead of letting them just come in and say that he's shit? What are you doing in that moment?
I think it was the round before he went out for the round 5th. I don't know, that's what you say. Anthony Joshua, you've got to remember, in the heat of the moment, he's on the front line, he's dodging bullets, rockets, bombs, all coming towards him. His eye brother is coming back, he's not fully aware of where he is, and is it some concussion has kicked in, and he's just thinking how he feels internally, mentally wise, and can't understand or program how he's getting beaten, getting dropped. And if someone said to me, shit, I'm not sure what it is, said, yeah, listen, forget what he is. We've got to concentrate what we're doing. You've got to get out, get back on it, and forget whether he's shit or whether he's good or not. To be honest, I've said it to my fighters. If you said to me he's shit, I would have said, yeah, he's shit, but he's put you on your ass. Now listen here, this is what we've got to do, do you know what I mean? And give him a wake-up call, do you know what I mean? So, but listen, Ben and Anthony Joshua, that's a relationship. They can talk like they can do, warrior and all that type of stuff. I'm not knocking it. If that's what works for Anthony Joshua, Ben knows him best. He's had 2 or 3, 4 fights with him now. So that's it. But yeah, it is what it is.
For Daniel Dubois, it's only right to give him the credit for a great performance.
Brilliant.
One thing that I think's gone massively under the radar is his chin. Before he finished Joshua, he got hit with a monstrous right hand. It sounded like a gun. And he just took that shot. Might have been a little bit hurt, but found his senses very quickly and found the shot to knock him out. What did you make of Dubois' chin and the way he dealt with that pressure?
Yeah, so people talk about his chin. You remember his first fight was done because of his eye socket. He was smart to save himself for another day. Yeah. Alexander Usyk, he had great success, and then he ended up getting done in the end. And I think that was just more out of being mentally tired, because Alexander Usyk, the energy that he drains from you mentally, keeping this straight, I think it was more a case of that. He'd give it his best and everything else. So we talk about Dubois. He got dropped a couple of times with Kevin Laran. Did he get caught cold there? I'm not trying to make excuses, but whatever, he came back and won that fight. Got caught against AJ, come back, got hit with right hands by Hrgovic. Do you know what I mean? And other fighters on the way through. So he's there's a lot made about his chin, but I just think his desire, and like people say sometimes, and his will to win, it would have ran through brick walls that night, and it would never have absolutely got dropped or anything else. Once that mindset's in you, that was it. It don't matter what's that, and it brings a certain level of what's the word I'm looking for? Level of hardness that no matter what, you're willing to take it to go through it. If the drive and the desire and the motivation, there's just no way in the world. Like Macklin used to say when he fought Sturm, it could have been King Kong that night. He wasn't getting beat.
Who do you want to see Daniel Dubois face next?
I think Daniel Dubois after that fight next. I'm also like to see Daniel Dubois. He's fought now, he's fighting Joshua. It'd be good for him to have a voluntary, have a good fight, and then go into another big fight. Who that may be? Well, there's obviously talk of a rematch for Anthony Joshua. I don't know. The talk of BAKOLE is a big fight, but I think that's a big fight for next year, Summer Fight Stadium. There's heavyweights out there for him to fight and have a voluntary against, and after what he's done at the weekend, I think people won't pardon him having a voluntary against opponent out there.
What chances would you give Anthony Joshua in a rematch with Daniel Dubois?
Listen, they're both big punches. Anthony Joshua lands that right hand or that left hook a couple of times. Daniel Dubois could go, and that's what it was. I just thought the mental. Simon Jordan talks about PTSD. Is Anthony Joshua still suffering that from the Andy DeRuiz fight? And did it rear its head again on Saturday night when he fought Daniel Dubois? How is he going to deal with that going in there? He'll have to show great mind signed it. He has done it before with Andy Ruiz, although Andy Ruiz ate himself out of condition for the fight, but he did put himself back in there in the mix. And Anthony Joshua, he has that mentality, and full credit to him. So would he win by knockout? Could do. He's got the punch to do it. He just needs to go back, reassess. But you're coming across a man now that's in highly huge, hot run of form now. Like a footballer, Haaland, scoring when you're hot, you're hot. Daniel Dubois is very hot at the moment.
And just very lastly, I want to get your thoughts on this main event, Beterbiev Bivol. Beterbiev's a man that you have prepared to face before with Callum Johnson. I spoke to Callum Johnson just a few weeks ago after his fight in Grantham, and he said Beterbiev's power is like nothing else. He's never felt anything like it. How do you see this main event playing out between him and Bivol?
It's a very good fight. I feel that Beterbiev, obviously being in with Usyk as an amateur, dropping Usyk with a body punch tells you how strong and a bigger hitter he is. Bivol, feet work, boxing IQ. We've seen what he did with Canelo. Can he do that with Beterbiev, a bigger man, a stronger man, a bigger hitting man, and can he do that for 12 rounds? Yeah, he most probably can do. But there's a vulnerability with him. People are forgetting that Joe Smith caught him late on in the fight and hurt him. There's at no point in this fight is he ever going to entertain having a trade-off. He might do, most of it later on the stretch, but it's a really good fight. I could see Bivol on points, but that's what's got us all there today. If Beterbiev lands, how's Bivol going to react?
So with your final prediction?
I'm not making a final prediction because I know fight week over there has got to change all the time. It's such a good fight, it is one of them fights. Fight week and what it does to people fight week can change fighters' performances.
Would you say this is your fight of the year, or would you say Fury Usyk was the biggest spectacle for you? As this is your personal opinion, not looking at the event as a whole, which fight is the better fight for you?
I think because it's been so long in the making and both been so top of the tree for a long while, I do have to say, me as a fan, Beterbiev, Bivol, it's just mostly because I've been against Beterbiev and I've seen Bivol and all that, but it's just great to have another unified, undisputed boxing division, do you understand? And the Fury Usyk rematch is more appetising than what I thought the first one would be, but Beterbiev Bivol is for this one, yeah, definitely.
Well, Joe, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck on fight week when you get out there into Saudi.
Yeah, no problem. I'll see you before then, no problem.
No doubt, cheers.